Jin-ho Kim stood at the viewing window of the transport ship, watching as the massive Galactic Coalition Academy came into view. The space station was enormous, at least 10 times bigger than Earth's largest space station. It looked like a giant metal flower with 5 large sections spreading out from a central hub. "First time seeing the Academy?" asked the transport pilot, a blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. "Yes," Jin-ho replied simply. He was a man of few words. "You're the human, right? From Earth?" The pilot's eyes, all 3 of them, blinked with curiosity. Jin-ho nodded. "Yes. Never had a human on my ship before. You folks only joined the coalition last year." Jin-ho said nothing more. He focused on the approaching station. As a former Korean military officer, he had been chosen from thousands of applicants to represent Earth in the Galactic Coalition's exchange program. The coalition had existed for over 2,000 years, with hundreds of alien species living together in peace. Earth was the newest member. The ship docked with a gentle bump. Jin-ho grabbed his single bag and waited for the airlock to open. He had been training for this moment for months, learning about alien cultures and customs. Still, nothing could fully prepare him for what waited on the other side. The airlock hissed open. A tall, thin alien with almost see-through skin stood, waiting. The alien had 2 long arms, 2 legs, and a head that looked slightly too big for its body. "Welcome to the Galactic Coalition Academy. I am Professor Tulax, your assigned mentor." The alien's voice was soft and musical. "You must be Jin-ho Kim from Earth." "Yes, Professor. Thank you for meeting me." Jin-ho bowed slightly, following the customs he had learned. "No need for such formality here," Tulax said with a gesture that Jin-ho guessed was a smile. "Please, follow me. I will take you to your quarters and then introduce you to your classmates." They walked through wide corridors filled with aliens, of all shapes and sizes. Some had multiple limbs, others moved on what looked like wheels or air cushions. Some were tall as trees, others barely reached Jin-ho's knee. The variety was stunning. "Earth is classified as a Class 5 death world," Tulax said as they walked. "Do you know what that means?" "High gravity, extreme weather, dangerous wildlife, and tough living conditions," Jin-ho answered. He had learned this during his preparation. Earth's gravity was nearly twice the galactic standard, and its range of environments, from burning deserts to freezing poles, was considered extreme. "Precisely. You are the first student from a Class 5 planet. Many here are curious about you." Jin-ho noticed the stares from passing aliens. Some looked afraid, others fascinated. He was used to standing out. At 6'1", with broad shoulders and a muscular build, he had always been physically imposing. But here it wasn't just his build that made him different. It was his very nature as a human. "Your quarters have been adjusted to Earth's standard gravity and atmosphere," Tulax continued. "We understand that comfort is important for learning." "Thank you, but that's not necessary," Jin-ho said. "I'm here to learn about other species and cultures. I should adapt to your standards, not the other way around." Tulax stopped walking and turned to look at Jin-ho with an expression he couldn't read. That is, unexpected. Most species insist on their home conditions. "Humans are adaptable," Jin-ho said simply. "Yes, I've read that in your species profile. It will be interesting to see this adaptability firsthand." They arrived at a simple room with a bed, desk, and bathroom facility. After dropping off his bag, Tulax led Jin-ho to a large communal area where 3 aliens waited. "These are your primary classmates," Tulax explained. "You will work closely with them during your time here." "This is Ela." Tulax gestured to a creature with 6 limbs and silvery skin that seemed to flow like water when she moved. "Ela is from Mevon, a low-gravity world known for its artistic achievements." Ela moved forward with incredible grace. "Welcome, Earth being Jin-ho. I look forward to learning with you." Her voice was like chimes in the wind. "This is Dorvo," Tulax continued, pointing to what looked like a walking crystal formation. Dorvo is a silicon-based life form from the Quartz Collective. Greetings, carbon-based human, Dorvo said, his voice surprisingly deep and rumbling. Your molecular structure fascinates me. And finally, this is Nema, Tulax indicated the third alien, a slender creature with violet skin and no visible mouth. Instead of speaking, Jin-Ho heard a voice directly in his mind. Hello, Jin-Ho of Earth. I am pleased to meet you. The mental voice was gentle but clear. Nema is a telepathic Lurorian, Tulax explained. They communicate primarily through thought projection. Jin-Ho bowed to each of his new classmates. I am honored to meet all of you and learn alongside you. Now, said Tulax, let me show you the academy facilities before our first class begins. As they toured the massive station, Jin-Ho observed everything carefully. The academy had training rooms, laboratories, lecture halls, and recreational areas designed to accommodate hundreds of different species. In one enormous chamber, the gravity, temperature, and even atmosphere could be changed to simulate different planetary conditions. This is where much of your combat training will take place, Tulax explained as they entered the simulation room. Combat training? Jin-Ho asked. I thought the Coalition had been at peace for centuries. Peace, yes, but we must always be prepared, Tulax said. The galaxy is vast, and not all species are as civilized as Coalition members. Basic defensive capabilities are required of all students. Jin-Ho nodded. As a former military officer, he understood the concept well. During dinner in the communal dining hall, Jin-Ho noticed how the other students kept their distance. They whispered and pointed when they thought he wasn't looking. Why do they stare? He asked Ela, who seemed the most friendly of his classmates. You are the first human many of us have seen, she replied, and you come from a death world. There are stories about what that means. What kind of stories? That Deathworlders are incredibly strong, that you can endure pain that would kill others, that you evolved from predators and still carry those instincts. Ela's silver skin rippled in what might have been discomfort. Some are afraid. Jin-Ho considered this. Earth's diplomatic corps had specifically asked him to downplay his military background and physical capabilities. They worried that showcasing human strength might frighten their new galactic neighbors. I'm just here to learn, he said finally, just like everyone else. That night, as Jin-Ho lay in his bed looking out at the stars, he thought about the path ahead. He would need to be careful. His actions wouldn't just reflect on him, but on all of humanity. The wrong impression could set back Earth's integration into the galactic community. Little did he know that in just 1 month, a single casual remark about a combat exercise would change everything. 1 month passed quickly. Jin-Ho adapted well to life at the Galactic Academy. He learned about alien cultures, studied galactic politics, and even made some friends. Many aliens still kept their distance, but others grew curious about the quiet. Human who worked hard and asked thoughtful questions. Jin-Ho's morning routine stayed the same as on Earth. He woke early to exercise in his room, push-ups, sit-ups, and other exercises that didn't require equipment. One morning, Ela caught him doing one-arm push-ups. What are you doing? She asked, her silver skin shimmering with surprise. Just staying in shape, Jin-Ho answered, switching to his other arm without stopping. But why? The Academy has machines that can keep your muscles strong without effort. Jin-Ho stood up, barely sweating. On Earth, we believe effort matters. The struggle makes us stronger, not just our bodies, but our minds, too. Ela tilted her head, confused. Fascinating, so inefficient, yet admirable. When Jin-Ho checked his class schedule that morning, he saw something new. Advanced combat training, all students must attend. Finally, he thought. After a month of classroom learning, He looked forward to physical activity. The class gathered in the large training room that could change its environment. About 20 students from different species stood nervously in a circle. Professor Tulax stood beside another alien, tall, muscular, with scales the color of rust and 4 strong arms. Each arm ended in clawed hands. Students, this is combat. Instructor Vexler, Tulax announced. He will lead your mandatory combat training module. Vexler stepped forward, his yellow eyes scanning the group. When they landed on Jin-Ho, they narrowed slightly. Welcome to advanced combat training. Vexler's voice was rough and deep. While the Coalition has enjoyed peace for centuries, all members must maintain basic defensive skills. You never know when you might encounter hostile non-coalition species. Jin-Ho noticed how several students shifted uncomfortably. Combat clearly wasn't something most of them thought about often. Today's training will test your limits, Vexler continued. We will set the room to what we call extreme conditions. 1.5 times standard gravity with obstacle courses designed to push your physical capabilities. A small bird-like alien raised a wing. Instructor, I request a medical exemption. My species cannot function in such gravity. Exemption granted, Vexler said. Anyone else? 3 more students asked for exemptions. Jin-Ho remained silent. Earth's gravity was actually 1.8 times the Coalition standard. The extreme setting would feel lighter than his home world. Now, suit up, Vexler ordered. These training suits will monitor your vital signs and protect you from injury. The suits were lightweight but strong. Jin-Ho's fit perfectly, though he noticed it had extra reinforcement compared to the others. The course is simple, Vexler explained once everyone was ready. Navigate through obstacles while defending against holographic attackers. The goal is to reach the finish line with as few hits as possible while maintaining speed. The room transformed. The flat floor became uneven terrain with hills, walls to climb, narrow bridges, and deep pits. Holographic enemies appeared, glowing red. Who wants to go first? Vexler asked. Silence fell over the group. Finally, Dorvo stepped forward, his crystal body gleaming under the lights. I will attempt it first, he said. Dorvo started well. His hard body moved surprisingly fast through the first obstacles, but when the gravity increased, his movement slowed dramatically. By halfway through, he was barely moving, each step looking painful. When he finally finished, he collapsed, his crystal body making a tinkling sound as he hit the floor. Medical team! Tulax called, rushing to Dorvo. One by one, the other students tried the course. Most couldn't finish. Ela moved gracefully, but eventually had to stop. Her silver skin dulled with exhaustion. Nima made it 3/4 through before collapsing, her mental voice crying out in pain. Jin-Ho watched carefully, studying the course and the holographic attackers. He noticed patterns in their movements, weak points in their design. Human, Vexler finally called. Your turn. Jin-Ho stepped to the starting line. The room went quiet. Everyone watched. Begin, Vexler ordered. Jin-Ho started at a steady pace, not too fast. The increased gravity felt familiar, almost comfortable. He moved methodically through the obstacles, his military training guiding his movements. When the first holographic attacker appeared, Jin-Ho didn't hesitate. He dodged its attack and struck back at the glowing red target on its chest. The hologram disappeared instantly. More attackers came. Jin-Ho dealt with each one efficiently, never wasting energy, always staying aware of his surroundings. He climbed walls, jumped gaps, and balanced on narrow bridges without slowing down. Halfway through, Jin-Ho noticed something strange. The room was completely silent. He glanced back to see Vexler, Tulax, and all the students staring at him with wide eyes and open mouths. Jin-Ho turned back to the course and continued. Unlike the other students who needed rest between obstacles, he moved through the entire course without stopping. His breathing remained controlled, his movements precise. When he reached the finish line, Jin-Ho was breathing a bit harder than normal, but nothing close to exhaustion. He checked his suit's display. He had received 0 hits from the attackers and completed the course in half the time of the fastest student before him. Vexillor approached slowly, all 4 arms hanging at his sides. How do you feel, human? Jin-Ho rolled his shoulders. Fine, sir. Is there a more advanced course? This was actually a mild exercise compared to my basic training on Earth. The training hall fell completely silent. Jin-Ho looked around, confused by the reaction. Professor Tulax and Instructor Vexillor exchanged alarmed glances, clearly unable to form words. The other students stared in disbelief. A mild exercise? Vexillor finally managed to say. His voice was barely a whisper. Yes, sir, Jin-Ho replied honestly. On Earth, our military training is much more intense. This gravity is actually lighter than Earth's natural gravity. Lighter? Someone gasped. Jin-Ho suddenly realized his mistake. The Earth Diplomatic Corps had specifically warned him not to emphasize human physical capabilities. They worried it might frighten the coalition species who had lived in peace for so long. I mean, it was a good challenge. Jin-Ho tried to correct himself. Very well designed, but it was too late. The damage was done. News would spread quickly that a human had called the most difficult combat training in the academy mild exercise. Class dismissed, Tulax announced suddenly. Jin-Ho, please remain behind. As the other students filed out, many casting nervous glances back at him, Jin-Ho stood straight, preparing himself for what would come next. He had not lied. The course really was mild compared to his training on Earth. But he now understood that the truth might be more dangerous than he expected. Jin-Ho, Tulax said when they were alone with Vexillor, I think we need to discuss exactly what humans are capable of. Please explain what you meant by mild exercise, Professor Tulax said. They sat in a small meeting room with Instructor Vexillor, who watched Jin-Ho with unblinking yellow eyes. Jin-Ho chose his words carefully. Earth has higher gravity than what we experienced in the training room. Our military training is designed to push human limits much further. How much further? Vexillor asked, leaning forward. Jin-Ho hesitated. The diplomatic instructions were clear. Don't frighten the aliens. But he had already said too much. On Earth, I would run similar courses wearing heavy packs in bad weather for hours without stopping, Jin-Ho explained. Our training includes survival in extreme heat, extreme cold, with little food or water, and under constant stress. Tulax's semi-transparent skin paled further. Why would you train like this when there are no wars on Earth? To be prepared, Jin-Ho said simply. Earth has a long history of conflicts. Peace is new to us. Vexillor stood up suddenly, all 4 arms tense. I must report this to the Academy Board. After Vexillor left, Tulax looked at Jin-Ho with an expression he couldn't read. Jin-Ho, do you understand what this means? I've caused trouble, Jin-Ho said. I apologize. It's not just trouble. Many species here have evolved in peace for thousands of years. The idea of a species that finds our most difficult training mild is frightening to them. Jin-Ho nodded. I understand. What happens now? The board will meet. Until then, continue your classes, Tulax said. But be aware, things will be different. Different was an understatement. By the next morning, everyone at the academy had heard about Jin-Ho's performance. Students who had been merely curious now kept their distance. Conversation stopped when he entered rooms. In the dining hall, tables emptied around him. Only Ela still approached him. Is it true? She asked, her silvery form rippling with excitement. You weren't even tired after the course? I was tired, Jin-Ho clarified. Just not exhausted. Amazing, Ela said. Most of my people couldn't even stand in that gravity, yet you called it mild. Jinho saw others watching their conversation with concern. Ela, maybe we should talk later. Are they all avoiding you? She asked, noticing his discomfort. How foolish! If humans were dangerous, the coalition wouldn't have accepted Earth as a member. Jinho appreciated her support, but knew the situation was complicated. That afternoon, he received a message to report to a secure training room. When he arrived, he found Professor Tulax waiting with 3 Academy officials. Jinho, Tulax said, the board has requested a demonstration of human capabilities. These officials need to assess exactly what humans can do. The room was set up with various equipment, weights, obstacles, weapons, and monitoring devices. We understand you have military training, one official said. Please show us your combat skills. For the next hour, Jinho demonstrated Korean martial arts, military hand-to-hand techniques, and his ability with different weapons. The officials watched silently, their expressions growing more concerned with each demonstration. Enough, one finally said. Thank you, Jinho. You may go. As Jinho left, he heard them talking in low, urgent voices. He knew this wasn't good. Walking. Back to his quarters, Jinho was stopped by an unfamiliar human woman. She had short black hair and sharp eyes. Jinho Kim? I'm Sang-mi Park, Xenobiology Department. She pulled him into an empty classroom. We need to talk. About what? About the mess you've created, she said bluntly. I've been here 6 months, keeping a low profile, studying alien biology. Then you come along and scare everyone with your mild exercise comment. Jinho frowned. I didn't mean to cause problems. I know, she sighed. But you did. The Academy administrators were watching your demonstration just now. They're discussing restricting human movement within Coalition space. What? Why? Because they're afraid of us, Sang-mi explained. Most Coalition species evolved on comfortable worlds with few predators. Humans evolved on a death world with constant threats. We're stronger, faster, and more aggressive than most of them. But we're peaceful now, Jinho argued. Doesn't matter. They see us as an evolving predator species. She leaned closer. Some officials are suggesting humans should be monitored or restricted until we evolve beyond our aggressive tendencies. Jinho felt a chill. That could take thousands of years. Exactly. So we need to fix this, Sang-mi said. Prove we're not just strong but also good allies. How? Before she could answer, a loud alarm blared through the academy. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Emergency broadcast, announced a voice over the speakers. Research vessel Quantum Explorer has suffered critical damage. Multiple species on board, including students and faculty. Vessel stranded on Xeno 7, Moon. Conditions hazardous. Rescue operations being assessed. Jinho and Sang-mi rushed to the main hall, where students and faculty gathered around large screens. The screen showed a small ship crashed on a rocky, barren moon. Impossible to reach them, someone was saying. Xeno 7's gravity is 1.7 standard, atmosphere has toxic pockets, and a major ice storm is approaching their position. Jinho pushed forward to see the screen better. Who's on that ship? A nearby student answered. Research team studying spatial anomalies. About 12 people, including Ela and Dorvo from your class. Jinho felt his heart sink. His classmates were in danger. Professor Tulax stood with the Academy board members, their expressions grave. Standard rescue protocols are insufficient for these conditions, one official was saying. The storm will reach their position in 10 hours. Rescue teams would take at least 15 hours to reach them safely. So we just let them die? Someone shouted. We have no choice, another official responded. No rescue team could survive. Those conditions long enough to reach them. Jinho stepped forward. I can. The room went silent. All eyes turned to him. Excuse me? An official asked. I can lead a rescue team, Jinho said firmly. The conditions you describe, high gravity, toxic atmosphere zones, extreme weather, these are similar to Earth's harshest environments. Humans can handle it. Absolutely not, the official said. This is not a training exercise. Exactly, Jin-Ho replied. This is real. Those people need help. The very things you fear about humans, our strength, our endurance, our ability to survive harsh conditions, these are exactly what you need right now. Tulak stepped forward. He's right. If anyone can reach that ship before the storm, it would be a human. Vexlor, who had been silent until now, nodded slowly. The Deathworlder might be our only hope. The officials huddled together, talking quickly and quietly. Finally, one turned to Jin-Ho. Very well, human. You may attempt a rescue operation. His eyes narrowed. But remember, the lives of multiple species are in your hands. If you fail, it will reflect on all humans. Jin-Ho nodded gravely. I understand. As the officials left to prepare the rescue mission, Sang-Mi grabbed Jin-Ho's arm. This is it, she whispered. This is how we show them what humans are really capable of. Jin-Ho looked at the screen showing the stranded ship and the approaching storm. He had wanted to avoid showcasing human physical abilities. Now, those same abilities might be the only thing that could save his friends. Jin-Ho stood in the hangar bay, checking his rescue gear one last time. The special suit would protect him from the toxic air pockets on Xeno 7. It was much heavier than the training suits, designed to withstand extreme conditions. Sang-Mi entered, the hangar with two other humans Jin-Ho hadn't met before. This is Tae-Wan, she said, pointing to a tall man with a serious face. He's an engineer, and this is Ji-Young, our medical expert. Jin-Ho nodded to them. You're coming too? Of course, Ji-Young said with a small smile. Humans stick together, right? Besides, this is our chance to show the Coalition what humans do best, survive and help others survive. Professor Tulax and Instructor Vexlor approached the human team. The rescue ship is ready, Tulax said. It's our fastest vessel, but even so, you'll barely reach the crash site before the storm hits. Vexlor handed Jin-Ho a small device. This shows the ship's location and the storm's path. The red areas are toxic atmosphere zones. Avoid them, if possible. Our scanners show 12 life signs at the crash site, Tulax added. Some appear injured. The ship's systems are failing, and they have limited air and heat. Jin-Ho studied the map. We'll need to move fast. The board wants to make something clear, Vexlor said, his voice serious. This mission is completely voluntary. No one will think less of you if you choose not to go. Jin-Ho looked at his human teammates, who nodded their agreement. We're going, he said simply. As they boarded the rescue ship, a small crowd gathered to watch. Jin-Ho noticed the mixture of concern, curiosity, and doubt on the aliens' faces. They didn't believe humans could succeed where their best rescue teams would fail. Good luck, Deathworlders, Vexlor said as the door closed. The flight to Xeno 7 took just under 2 hours. As they approached, Jin-Ho could see why rescue would be difficult. The moon's surface was rocky and uneven. Dark clouds covered half the surface, moving quickly toward the crash site. That storm looks bad, Tae-Wan said, checking the instruments. Temperature dropping fast, wind speeds increasing. How long do we have? Jin-Ho asked. 8 hours before it hits the crash site. We need to get everyone out in 7 to be safe. They landed their ship 100 meters from the crashed research vessel. The moment they stepped outside, Jin-Ho felt the pull of the heavier gravity. Each step required more effort than normal. Gravity is 1.7 times standard, Ji-Young confirmed. About 95% of Earth gravity. We can handle it, but it will slow us down. They made their way to the crashed ship. The outer hull was damaged, with a large crack running along one side. Jin-Ho pressed the emergency access panel and the door slid open slowly. Inside, they found chaos. The ship's emergency lights cast an eerie red glow over the damaged interior. Several aliens lay on the floor, clearly injured. Others moved slowly, helping those who couldn't walk. Hila floated toward them, her silver skin dull and moving sluggishly. "Jin-Ho, is that really you?" "We came to rescue you," Jin-Ho said. "How bad is the situation?" "Very bad," she said weakly. "Our environmental systems are failing. 3 are seriously injured, including Dorvo. His crystal structure cracked in the crash." Ji Young immediately moved to check the injured. Taewon examined the ship's systems. "The ship's beyond repair," Taewon reported. "We need to move everyone to our rescue vessel." "That's the problem," Hila said. "We can't move in this gravity. It's too strong for most of us. Even walking to your ship would cause serious damage." "To our bodies?" Jin-Ho looked around, counting quickly. 12 aliens, 4 humans. The rescue ship could hold them all, but not if the aliens couldn't walk there. "Then we'll carry them," he decided. Ji Young looked up from treating an injured alien. "Jin-Ho, even for us, carrying someone in this gravity for 100 meters won't be easy." "Then we'll make multiple trips," Jin-Ho said. "Each of us takes 1 alien at a time. 3 trips each, while avoiding toxic air pockets and racing against the storm," Taewon added. "It's going to be close." The humans began their work. Jin-Ho carefully lifted Dorvo, whose crystal body was surprisingly heavy. The cracks in Dorvo's surface were concerning. "Can you fix him?" Jin-Ho asked Ji Young. "I've stabilized him, but he needs proper medical care," she answered. "We have to get him back to the academy." Outside, the wind was getting stronger. Jin-Ho could see the dark storm clouds approaching faster than predicted. They had less time than they thought. The first round of rescues went smoothly. Each human carried 1 alien to the rescue ship and returned for another. The second round was harder, with the wind making it difficult to walk straight. By the third round, all 4 humans were exhausted, but they pressed on. "Last one," Jin-Ho said, lifting a small, bird-like alien. His muscles burned with effort. The gravity and repeated trips were taking their toll. Halfway to the rescue ship, Jin-Ho's scanner beeped a warning. A red cloud appeared on the map. A pocket of toxic air moved toward them, pushed by the changing winds. "Everyone, run!" Jin-Ho shouted. "Toxic air coming!" The humans sprinted for the ship, each carrying an alien. Jin-Ho pushed his tired legs harder, feeling the burn in his lungs and the strain in his back. Behind them, the toxic cloud rolled closer. They reached the ship just as the cloud arrived. The door sealed shut behind them, and Jin-Ho collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. "Is everyone here?" he managed to ask. Sang-Mi did a quick count. "All accounted for. We did it, Jin-Ho." Taewon jumped into the pilot's seat. "Not yet, we haven't. That storm's almost here, and it's worse than they predicted." The ship shook as powerful winds hit it. Ice began forming on the windows. "Can we take off in this?" Jin-Ho asked. "Have to try," Taewon said, firing up the engines. "If we wait, we'll be stuck here for days." The rescue ship lifted slowly, fighting against the wind and gravity. Every person held their breath as the ship shuddered and groaned. Then finally, they broke through the storm clouds into clear space. Cheer went up from everyone on board. "Setting course for the academy," Taewon announced. Jin-Ho sat down heavily, his body aching from the effort. Hila moved closer to him. "You saved us," she said simply. "All of you, when no one else could." "Just doing what humans do," Jin-Ho replied. "We help when help is needed." When they returned to the academy, they were greeted by a surprised crowd. Medical teams rushed forward to help the rescued aliens. Professor Tulax and the Academy Board waited as Jin-Ho and his team exited the ship. "Remarkable," one board member said. "Truly remarkable. You succeeded where our best rescue teams would have failed. The same strength and endurance that frightened you yesterday saved lives today." Jin-Ho said. Tulak stepped forward. You have shown us something important, Jin-Ho. We feared what humans might become in our coalition. Now we see what you can be for it. In the days that followed, everything changed. The Academy created a new program, the Human Emergency Response Division, with Jin-Ho as its leader. Students who had avoided him now asked him to teach them about human endurance techniques. The combat training curriculum was revised, not to create better warriors, but to develop more effective protectors. 1 month after the rescue, Jin-Ho stood before the entire academy as Tulax presented him with a special medal. For outstanding courage and service to the Galactic Coalition, Tulax announced. As Jin-Ho accepted the medal, he saw Professor Vexilor watching from the crowd. The combat instructor who had once stood speechless at Jin-Ho's casual remark about mild exercise now nodded with respect. Jin-Ho smiled. Sometimes the very qualities that made you different, even frightening, could become your greatest contribution. Earth had finally found its place in the stars, not despite being a death world, but because of it.